It's still TMI, lovely Monday morning, a special Monday because it's Workers' Day. And so we're saying big congratulations to all the workers out there. And if you look at the papers this morning, you see all the screaming headlines. Unfulfilled promises. And the one that is most striking and topical is that the minimum wage has now lost its value. And the reason is not far-fetched. With the high cost of living, things have gone up astronomically. We're seeing that happening. It's quite unfortunate, as it were. Anyways, we hope that the incoming administration will be able to look through all of these challenges and find a common pathway. The ASU national chairman, national president, has also made a comment that with the recent pay rise for selected civil servants, the present administration is creating problems for the incoming administration. Anyways, we'll see how that pans out. I'd like to thank very specially, joining us in the studio now, the Edo State Chairman, Youth Wing of CAN and Youth Wing of PFN, is also the lead pastor of This Spring Gospel International Center, a public affairs analyst, political commentator. I'd like to thank very especially Reverend Phil Aroje for joining us on the program today.
Good morning. Happy New Month.
Happy New Month.
Happy New Week.
Happy
New Week. Workers' Day.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
For you in the broadcast media,
yeah,
every day is work.
Absolutely. No public holiday.
No public
we don't have that luxury at all. Okay, let's start our conversation by looking, Workers' Day 2023 is a day workers look forward to reflect on how the year has been for workers in terms of their plight, their welfare, and all of that. And I think this administration is now at the twilight. And I don't know if workers have any reason to expect anything, because I know that on Workers' Day, either at the state level or at the federal level, there are usually pronouncements made to assuage the feelings of workers. That's some sort of inspiration, motivation for workers. I remember in Edo State, it was on Workers' Day that the state government announced minimum wage of 40,000 naira for workers. But I'm not sure that at the federal level or even at the state level, such an announcement is in the offing. But let's look at the plight of workers as we mark Workers' Day today from your experience.
Thank you very much. The Nigerian worker has been at the receiving end of the economic challenges that were faced as a nation. The last administration at the federal level was the one that moved the minimum wage to 18,000. When this administration came, I think they moved it to the current 30,000, and the state followed suit. Of course, like you mentioned, the Edo State government during Workers' Day, maybe it was 2021 or 2022, they moved the minimum wage from 30,000, which was at the federal level, that even some states were not able to pay, to 40,000. But let's look at, anyway, before I give that analysis, I listened on radio a few days ago, I think last week. Workers are saying if you want to remove the fuel subsidy, which is part of the gift that the outgoing administration want to leave for the incoming administration, that minimum wage should go to 100,000. Even at 100,000, it will still be very difficult for the average Nigerian family to cope.
Okay.
But let's come to 30,000 per month. I'm not aware that there's any part of this state or this country where you can find a single room to rent for less than 5,000 naira per month. So if a worker earns 30,000, an average family of 6, husband, wife, 4 children, assuming there's no dependent. So if the parent, that's assuming they live in one room, which is impossible. If the parent of 5,000, it means for the next 30 days, they have to live on 25,000, which is less than 1,000 per day. Now, how much will they use in feeding? So you discover that the Nigerian worker has been at the receiving end. The people who are buying and selling, if the seller, if the buyer, the seller increase the price, the wholesaler increase the price,
Yeah.
the retailer will increase his price.
Absolutely.
And it will come down to the consumer, which is the ordinary Nigerian worker, who burns the energy, burns his life, burns his time, working in the civil service, working for government, 30 days in a month, 365 days in a year, and have absolutely nothing to show for it. I have said everywhere I had the opportunity to say, if you want to live well, it's good to work, but you must find something along the line to add to what you are doing. Side hustle that is approved, farming is approved, buying and selling is approved. You do that because the Nigerian worker, a normal civil servant who will depend absolutely on his take-home pay that cannot take him home will just be counting years till he goes back to heaven. There's no way he's going to prosper. Absolutely not. He's not going to prosper. By what means? By what means is he going to prosper? Is it 100,000? By the cost of things in Nigeria, I'm sure there's no family that spends less than 15,000 to buy petrol for their small generator every month. That is at 500 naira per day. People like you who are senior men will do more than that. We do more than that. We do more than that. And the average Nigerian family have like 2 vehicles. They have 2 generators. So there's no way they can cope. And unfortunately, this administration that is going that has only 28 days, which Nigerians should look forward to for big celebration. They should kill cow to celebrate the exit of this administration, has absolutely done nothing. Because when they came in with the exchange rate at less than 200 naira, the naira was still manageable. But with the exchange range that have moved from 200, less than 200, to today it's about 700 and something naira to $1, the naira is worthless. So even when you talk about 30,000, let's move somebody who earns 70,000 per month. That would be like level 8 or 9 or even 10.
Okay.
To earn 70,000 per month, that is $100 per month. How much is $100 worth when you compare to the international market? Don't forget that we don't produce anything here.
Absolutely.
Even the oil we own, we don't refine. So we still send it to the international market, take the dollar baggage, and bring it back to us at the international market rate.
Yeah.
So we have that problem. We don't produce anything. So $100 per month can absolutely not help any family.
So in essence,
I just pity the Nigerian workers.
You're concurring with the position of labor that the minimum wage has lost its value completely.
Comprehensively. The minimum wage has lost its value comprehensively. I don't even think that there's, maybe because of the kind of environment I operate from, I don't think that there's any family that will be comfortable with 100,000. I'm not talking of a young person, single person who is just working. I'm talking of your family.
Yeah.
For you to earn 100,000 in the civil service, you would have spent years. You would have spent years. I learned professors earn like 400 and something thousand. And for you to be a professor, you would have spent almost 30 years, 20, 30 years in service. And so, if you earn 400,000 naira, that's about $500. And everything you do today is denominated in dollars.
Absolutely.
Everything, even your books, because the material to publish the books is denominated in dollars. The ink to use to publish your book is denominated in dollars. So it's absolutely comprehensively lost its value.
Would be absolutely correct in our analysis if we don't factor in some of the economic realities on the ground on a global scale. There's a dwindle in the global economy, particularly with the fluctuating prices of crude oil in the global market.
And then the crisis in Ukraine and Russia
absolutely.
that has put pressure on gas supply to Europe.
How do you look at all of these challenges? Because we are part of the global community.
No.
Whatever is happening at the global stage, certainly we have a multiplier effect on the negative side on Nigeria, as it were.
This is what happened in the UK. The war in Ukraine and Russia, between Ukraine and Russia, started about a year ago. So that affected the global price of energy, especially gas and then wheat. What UK government did was that they moved the minimum wage from about £9 to about £11.8. You can check. Minimum wage for the unskilled laborer per hour. We don't have calculator to check. Let's take average of £10.
Okay.
£10 is about 800 naira. Am I correct?
Within that range.
800 naira per hour. No, that's about 8,000.
Okay.
8,000 per hour. Per hour.
Yeah.
So if you work for 10 hours, you've gotten £80. And you can do more than that in a day. So they moved. There was an adjustment. There was an attempt. As it was happening, I have people who live in the UK. And I don't know, I know that there's no Nigerian family who doesn't have somebody who lives in the UK, because we have had people moving now in droves to the UK.
Droves.
The Japa they go.
An exodus.
Yes, the Japa they go. So they move automatically.
So maybe we'll have to rewrite the book of Exodus.
You also know that that cost the former prime minister his job.
Yeah.
Something was being done. But what has been done here? Ordinary census, maybe we sit down, maybe we count ourselves. They're not we count. The last census that was conducted was 2006. And by law, every 10 years, which means 2016. The current administration came into power in 2015. Assuming that the previous administration didn't prepare for that census for 2016, they had the first 4 years to have done census. It was not done. Over almost 100 billion naira was budgeted and was being spent for the census that ought to start the day after tomorrow.
Okay.
Now it's now postponed. Till when? Till the next administration. What of the money that has been spent? What of the expenses that have been cured on training and retraining the enumerators and all the things?
Yeah.
We waste money. You couldn't tell us to sit down so you could count us for 8 years. You fixed the census for the last month of your administration. So that's how haphazard this man, this present government, has led this nation. Okay. And the Nigerian worker, we are saying this because the Nigerian worker was better off in the last administration. Why do I say so? Because as at that time, one bag of rice was less than 8,000 naira. With 18,000 naira minimum wage, a worker who earns 18,000, two of them can team up together, contribute for 4,000 naira when they earn their 18 and buy one bag of rice.
At that time, what was the price of crude oil, which is a major foreign exchange earner?
The price of crude oil at that time, there was a time the price of crude oil peaked to $110, $120. Yeah. As at today, I don't know what it's called, maybe about 60 or 70 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
But we cannot keep blaming the crude oil. Now, what have we done in the last 8 years under this administration that is going on in 28 days to improve on the benefit of that oil? Do we now have one functioning refinery? After 8 years, we have one. You said you were going to privatize an NPC, which you have done. Of course, one of the candidates said he was going to do that in 2019, and then you fought him. But that's what you eventually have done. What is the benefit now that it has brought to Nigerians? Do we have any functioning refinery that can give us more value? Because petroleum engineers tell us that from crude oil, you can get about 19 other products. That was the reason why they built Ilime Petrochemical Company close to the Port Harcourt refinery, so that the byproduct from the refined petrol and diesel, you can now produce other things. But it's not functioning. I knew it was in the early 90s, 1991, 1992, that they completed that Ilime Petrochemical Company. It's not functioning. None of them is functioning. So we take our crude back, into the international market, bring back petrol, PMS, DPK kerosene, and then bring back AGO. The remaining 16 byproduct is taken away. So what do we do? What do we do? So we find a situation where one administration comes in and complain of the previous one, but this one we can see in the last 8 years that there has not been any improvement on the life of the Nigerian worker. And the average Nigerian worker do not only take care of himself and his 4 children.
Immediate family.
Yes, 4 children. There are extended families. There is community needs. Extended family in the village. Some of them have parents who struggled to send them to school. And the moment you hear that somebody is working, that's the reason. The moment you hear somebody is working, that's the time they begin to put pressure on him to begin to remit money back home. So if at 40,000, at 80,000, at 100,000, how much will you have to take care of your immediate family, pay your transportation, and render to the family? I drive 2 vehicles. That's what I use.
Because you're a senior man.
Yes, I have 2 vehicles. My wife has 1.
Yes.
Then we have 1 for operations.
Yes.
For family movement and all the rest. That's 4. How do you fuel it with 100,000 naira salary per month? It's not for luxury.
It's not for luxury.
No, I don't drive the 2 vehicles at the same time.
No.
It's not for luxury.
Yeah.
The assignment costs for it.
Yeah.
So how will a salary of 100,000 naira fuel and maintain 4 vehicles in a month? So that's why there's so much T-free. That's why there's so much contract inflation. Because those are the hem of affairs at the top level of government. The only way they can survive and maintain that lifestyle and be able to service the armies of unemployed, hungry people from their family that is after them is thieving and contract inflation. It is reported on the news. You can check it. The AKK gas pipeline being funded by international bodies, and then you have a Nigerian company that is working on it, OSAF. AKK is Abuja, Kaduna, Kano gas pipeline project. It is reported, I read it, the contract is inflated with 504%. Not 10%, not 20%, not 100%.
504%.
504% inflated. So the international donors, international partner funding organization have looked at it. They can't go back to their country and say we are doing so kilometers of gas pipeline, and then this is costing so much. Why should it cost so much when in other African countries where we have done similar
projects?
It's 504. So that's what is putting the bottleneck on that.
Are you saying that the fight against corruption, as it were, which is a major platform or plank on which this present administration came on board, seems to be a major issue that is of serious concern in terms of making life more meaningful for Nigerians? Let's look at that quickly, because we hear government people say every now and then that the funds are not there to do a lot of these things. I mean, when you look around the country, one major thing that is of great concern, the state of infrastructures, particularly our roads. I mean, you drive on the Benin-Auchi-Ekpoma road.
I stopped driving. In the last 1 month, I've not used that road.
Okay, you used to.
Yes,
you used to drive on that road.
In the last 1 month, I've been avoiding that road like
every now and then. But that road has been comatose. I mean, we're using Edo State as a case study now. And then you turn your attention to the Benin-Saple road, is comatose. Benin-Abraka road, story is the same. Benin-Agbo road, story is the same. And when you ask government officials, they tell you, well, the funds are not there, blah, 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 blah. So I think that perhaps if we have really nipped corruption in the bud, maybe you probably will have some funds to be able to drive this project. I mean, there is a certain, is it $2.8 billion now? I can't remember the exact figure, that the House of Representatives committee, other committee, has been investigating where they invited.
Until they are settled.
Until they invest. Once
they are settled, the investigation will end.
They invited the AGF and all of that. Nobody knows what has become of that. Let me just get your take on that.
NDDC had the stakeholders meeting. NDDC and took it to Lagos last week.
Stakeholders meeting in Lagos.
Yes, NDDC.
Niger Delta Development Commission.
They took it to Lagos. They had it in Lagos last week.
Not in Edo State.
No, not in
Delta,
not in any of the 6,
not in Rivers.
No, not in any of the 6 South states. They took it to Lagos. Because there are some money they must spend and collect. There are some vouchers and invoices.
There's no evidence to that.
No, I'm telling you now, they must
There's
raise,
no evidence to that.
They must raise and clean up before they hand up before 29th. I just mentioned that I stopped driving through the Benin Outreach. I don't want to die before my time. So I have to meander through the communities. And I could tell you, for the betterment of listeners in Edo State, if you are going from Benin City to Eastern Land, just go through Agbo Road, enter Oguneki Road to Egwaholo. You will join at Geudu. There's a road now that goes to Ebele. The state government or district government
tarred that road.
Yes, they've been working on that road. So they have tarred that road almost 90%, almost at Ogwa, then before Ebele. So you take through that one to Ogwa. Then, of course, avoid the federal road running from Agbo. So you we jog back to Ugbegunebudi, which was another road that the previous government did. They come out at Igwebe, go to anywhere, whether Oromi, Etepoma, or Obiaja, you can.
So you completely avoid
I've avoided that in the last 1 month. In the last 1 month.
And government people say the funds are not there to drive this project.
The funds are there. They have been using it in the north. I just told you of the AKK now. The president said a few days ago that as soon as he hands over, he's going to Daura to stay.
No, he said if you people don't give him peace.
Yes, he's going to Daura to stay.
Yes.
If they don't give him peace, he will go to Niger. That's why they constructed train to Niger, so that he can easily go there. So he has already prepared for his retirement. Then the remaining of us in the southern Nigeria can know. There is no road, sir, as bad as the roads in Edo Delta State. None in this country. There's not one. Not the Benin Sapele route. For almost 2 weeks, it was locked. And you need to see the number of trucks that were there. So what is important in the Niger Delta, that trucks were coming from the north? Why do we not have to truck everything? You see, we are not telling ourselves the truth. When the people who designed this country, they designed that petroleum products should be piped. That's why we had depots across the country. We had in Benin, there's Mosomi, there's Suleja, that you take most of the petroleum products to the depots, you pipe them to the depots, then smaller trucks, at most 33,000
liters.
33,000 liters. We take it from the depot just to distribute around. But now trucks have to drive from Sokoto, and some of them are 60,000 liters. In those days, it was a tipper or lorry that was carrying cement. Now Dangote have truck that instead of carrying 600 bags of cement, which is 30,000 tons, it has truck that can take 900 bags, 1,200 bags of cement, which is 600 tons, against the design of the road. So that's why there's so much pressure on this road. What happened to FEMA? What did this administration did with FEMA?
Lack of funds.
Yeah, lack of funds. For South, not for the North, sir. Go to the North, now you find road. Ask your colleagues who are there. Where did they find money to build Abuja? Where did they find money that is now building the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway? Why can't we fix our own here? Where did they? It's not lack of fund. It's lack of nepotism. It's lack of willingness to do for us what should be done for us.
Well, some have said that state governments in the South should also be alive to their responsibility.
Yes.
After all, government at the federal level doesn't really use this road. These roads are roads that are domiciled within the region, and the region benefit from it.
You don't understand that state governments are not allowed to work on federal road except there's authorization from the federal government. That's the truth. If you don't have authorization, you cannot. I was in Delta State on Saturday, and I drove for real. I calculated. I drove for 50 kilometers. No pothole, on a dual carriageway, no pothole, no police stoppage, no army stoppage, nothing. 50 kilometers. The distance is from a place called Nsukwa to Ozoro in Delta State. State road. And I asked the governor some time ago, the governor of Delta State, why did you not fix the Agbo, Abavo, Oronigbe, Umutu, Abraka road? He said because they didn't allow him. I asked Okowa some time ago. They didn't allow him. He had to get permission from Fashola, the Minister of Works, the current Minister of Works. This is a program they cannot watch. He had to get permission from him to allow him work on the Uromi junction. That junction that goes from Agbo to Uromi, so that people can pass there, because it was still within the town. Vehicles were not able to go through there. He had to get permission to be able to do that. That's how this administration, this country is killed. That there's a road. Governor Baseki cannot now go to Saple Road and start working. They will come and challenge him. Even when he has spent money, he's spending the state money, he may not even be asking for a fund. My senior mentor, who is like a father to me, you know him? His name is Bishop Matthew Okpeolu. For several years, was fixing the Ekpoma Road. The contractors came and told him that they are the contractors on that road. We have not seen anything. The Ekpoma axis of this Binia Uchi Road used to be repaired every dry season. So that the worst part of the season of that road is sometime around July, August, September to October, before the dry season comes in. Unfortunately, during the last dry season, it was not fixed. That's why now you can't pass that road. People were able to pass in the last 2 weeks because Benin was locked. The trucks were not on the road. Go there in the next 2 weeks. Let rain fall for the next 2 weeks. You can't go through that road.
Okay,
that's how bad it is.
As a quality wrap, just like you said,
Sorry, there was something you mentioned earlier about the security, the corruption, and all the rest. This administration came in on a tripod stand of fight against insecurity, corruption, and the economy. On the 3 of them, I can't give him anything. I don't want to say 5/10 or... No, I can't score him anything. Okay. Let them score themselves. Let them know now. Let them tell us whether it is safer. Nigerians are safer now than...
That's why Mr. President apologized about 2 weeks ago.
Apologized for what?
Apologized 2 weeks ago.
For after killing Nigerians? Apologized
2 weeks ago. That's why I apologized.
What purpose? Let Nigerians check. Is the economic life better now than it was before? Is the security or the corruption, fight against corruption, is it better now? I just told you now that it's reported that a major contract is inflated to the tune of 504%. I didn't check their books. It is what is reported. So if there's anybody to hold, they should go and hold the people who reported it.
Okay. May 29 is just around the corner. There'll be a transition to a new government. What are expectations on the final note?
The president-elect has set up his transition committee, bearing any divine intervention. Apart from the God factor, there is no law that will stop him from being sworn in. So those people who are expecting that they won't swear him in are just thinking, are just wishing away. The law, there's no law. Even if the Supreme Court or the tribunal rule now that is not, it didn't win, it will go on appeal. The swearing in will take place on that day. That's the way our system is designed. Just announce me winner, let others go to court. Unfortunately. So that's the way it's designed. He will be sworn in, except there is a divine intervention. This country is in trouble. One pastor said that he saw a vision and narrated all the things he saw and all the rest concerning this administration. I don't know whether you watched that video. Yeah, okay. One pastor, Prophet Faye Daniel. Do you know that after that video became public knowledge and the election was conducted and won, they arrested him and took him to court?
It was alleged to have been...
Yes, and he said that 4 years ago, 2020, he raped 2 members of his church. Not 2021, not 2022, not 2023. It is after that prophecy they remember that 4 years ago he raped 2 members of his church. That's the way our country is.
Why?
There's no freedom of speech.
You've been talking here. I said you've been talking here. You said there's no freedom of speech.
There's no freedom of speech.
But you've been talking here.
There are some things I can't say here. That's the truth. That's part of the reason, even as a leader in CAN and PFN, there are some things I can't say. And since I cannot lie, I'd rather not talk at all.
Okay.
Yes. The truth is that it's only you, because I know you. You are the only person I've been granting interview to in the last 2 years. I'm not able to go to any other station because of you are the Ogidiga of this thing here. So, Tinubu will be sworn in according to the Constitution. Okay. Except there's any other thing, which I don't know, and I don't want to talk about anything. My expectation is that he's a Southerner. Nigerians have rooted for South-South, for a Southerner to be president after 8 years of the North. Even if some persons disagreed, looking at the political platform, looking at the religion, it is left for him to distinguish himself. From the program I have seen, there's a Muslim service for that inauguration. There's also a Christian service. And a pastor have been appointed, a bishop have been appointed that will lead that church service. I know him very well. He's the CAN chairman of Lagos State. His name is Bishop S.T.V. Adigbite. He's of the Methodist Church.
Okay.
And he was also very close to Tinubu's wife. He's been in Lagos. As a matter of fact, there was a controversial statement he made, which he later corrected before the election, to the effect that, oh, God will punish us if we don't support Tinubu. So that man who made that statement then, because of relationship, that's what I told people during the election. There are personal interests. Everybody knows someone and they're working for it, irrespective of the religion and the tribe. Yeah. So that program will have that. He'll be sworn in. So it's left for him to distinguish himself. Okay. And one thing I'm asking for, and a good man can become the Senate president.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Benefit us, because that's the way it is.
Yeah.
It is who you have in the system that will determine what you get. That's
exactly.
in Nigeria today.
Exactly.
Yes.
Quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. But I want to thank you very especially, Reverend Phil Aroji. I mean, you just bring it on in a very special and unique way with all the insights and deep thoughts and deep bringing conversation in such a very deep dimension and perspective. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you for the honor.